And here we return again to Simon Forman's tale of Doctorship. Let's just dive in, see where we go.
Why must this wench act so distressed? Mayhap she can't abide a jest. No welcome love when 'tis professed. What an ungrateful lady! What an ungrateful lady!
Emilia Lanier returns.
Good day, Mistress Lanier. Pray, come in and take comfort by the fire. The wind is fierce and cold this day.
Did you see him this time, Dr. Forman? He did it again. He ran off the moment he saw me.
See who, madam?
Your patient, Signor Ferraro.
Ah, verily? Indeed, I was expecting him to come for a consultation this day. But he changed his mind and ran off, you say. How very mysterious.
Truly, 'tis as if all men are determined to use me ill.
Surely not all men, madam. I, for one, remain most devotedly at your service. My dear lady, I do not need to read the stars to see that something grave has befallen you. Pray, tell me what it is.
Yesterday I did meet with Mr. Shakespeare to discourse upon our new play, which is to open this week at the theatre in Shoreditch. But though I was determined not to confront him about the sonnets he wrote about me, 'twas difficult to hide the heaviness I did feel in his company.
I can well imagine, madam.
So then, well, he remarked upon my dark humour, to wit, he said to me, "Emilia, your pretty brow does furrow, so I will kiss it smooth."
And I sense that you did not receive this well?
Indeed I did not. Forsooth, I was so enraged by this, I reversed my flagon of ale full over his head.
Ah.
Whereon he rose from his stool, declaring I was the most ungrateful and unworthy wench in all of Christendom, and then he flew out of the tavern like a bat from out the gates of hell.
A most vivid image, and no doubt most apt. Men who work in playhouses are prone to indulging in such melodrama, of course. Why so many ladies care for such men in preference of those employed in solid, stable professions, I shall never understand.
And if only that were all. For this morning I saw a bill advertising our play posted on a wall in my street. It bears his name and not mine.
Verily? Surely not. Mayhap there has been some error made.
Nay, Dr. Forman, 'tis no error, for I rushed to the theatre to see what was amiss, but I was refused admittance. Indeed, the player who came to the door denied all knowledge of my collaboration on the play. Methinks Mr. Shakespeare is exacting his petty vengeance upon me for rejecting his sly suit by denying me credit for my work, and he means to deal with me by pretending I do not exist, as if I were a ghost. Or is it he who has become the ghost? In truth, I am not yet sure how that metaphor should work.
What monstrous perfidy! Pray tell me what I might do to punish this wretched scribbler. Though I am not adept with a sword, I do have a book that instructs in how to command nefarious spirits.
Oh, prithee, sir, I am come not in search of vengeance, but to seek answers. As you know, I have been ill-treated by my husband, and now I am betrayed by Mr. Shakespeare. Pray, read the stars and answer me this, Dr. Forman. Will I ever be able to trust, even love, a man again?
Could we hit on her? Yes, because she's already given me her letter of recommendation. Let's just hit on her. Oh, well. Read the stars by selecting highlighted. Okay. Emilia secretly wishes to commit adultery with... Simon Forman can only give one reading here. Emilia's friends have been untrustworthy of her confidence. Relationship betwixt Emilia and me is currently wrought by confusion. God rewards men who invest time in their friendships with comely women. Emilia's literary legacy has been betrayed by Mr. Shakespeare. Emilia should give in to her true feelings. Mistress Lanier is ignorant of the love she inspires, but her ignorance will be reversed. And finally, Emilia's present adversity may bring change and new life in the form of a child.
to your question of whether there yet be a man in this world worthy of your trust and affections, forsooth, I have never seen an arrangement of stars that speaks so clearly.
Verily? Then pray tell, what answer does it give?
My dear lady, the answer you seek need not be divined by reading the stars. It may be read in the signs you see before you now. To wit, the answer you seek is right in front of you.
I am afeard I do not follow, Dr. Forman. 'Tis your feather quill, a half-eaten apple.
She's
your
not gonna
desk
like
is
this.
a little untidy, and I must confess the symbolism in Flemish still-life painting has always quite confounded me. Take a skull, for instance. What sense does a skull make alongside a bowl of... Below. 'Tis clear to me now, your face was always hid in shadow, but 'tis you, Mr. Forman. You are the man who has been prowling me these last months.
Dearest, loveliest Amelia, allow me to profess to you my undying admiration for your charms, which are not insignificant.
God's womb, et tu, Dr. Forman. Fie, you of all men to betray me thus. But 'tis true. I now see the answer. For I know now never again to trust a man to guide me. Henceforth, I shall write under my own name, and when there are decisions to be made, I shall take my own counsel and make my own judgments. By the by, methinks I do at last understand that prediction you made for me some years ago, Dr. Forman. The one about how belief is required if I am to succeed. 'Tis a belief I must hold not in the inevitability of my own personal success, but of the successes of the women who will come after me. Farewell, Dr. Forman, and clean your desk. Verily, 'tis quite disgusting.
Once again, we are accused of being the prowler. But okay, maybe Simon is the prowler then. The querent did wish to know whether she will ever trust or love a man again. I did advise the querent that I was the man whom she could love and trust. Methinks the querent took my advice most ill. Well, oh Simon. He's just using this practice of his to bang, or not to bang ladies, because it's not really working out for him, but he's trying his best. And then he stalks them at night. Fun stuff. Women will achieve equal treatment even if it takes us 100 years. Yeah, sounds about right. Well, let's see here. In 1594, you might want to add a few hundred years to that, unfortunately, but such is life. We'll move on. Mail. Sir, I must thank you for your diligent care of my husband, Nicholas. Your efforts to disabuse him of his fanciful notions are much appreciated by his family. Please continue to speak true to him, that he may one day come to his senses and peace may be restored to our household. Your current long-suffering wife, Sarah Muck. All right, good. Yeah, that's how I've been treating him. We'll continue to do that.
Lancelot Moore is of a great house. Much does depend, much, on his choice of a spouse. He must be well, to consecrate wealth, no matter the cost, to love and to have.
A new character arrives, Lancelot.
Good day to you, young sir, and well met. You are Lancelot Moore of Middlesex, are you not? What an honour it is to welcome a son of the great house of Moore to my humble consulting chambers.
'Tis indeed I, Lancelot Moore. I will own it. But hear this. My family is ignorant of my designs in coming here, and I wish them to remain so. Which is why I come to you, Mr. Forman, for methinks you are not such a man who would ever find himself in the company of a family such as ours.
Ah, well, you may count upon my discretion, Mr. Moore. And what is the matter that brings you this day?
'Tis that my family wish me to marry my wretched cousin Barbara.
And I take it you would not wish to comply.
Nay, I verily would not. Cousin Barbara is a vile little minx. She loves nothing more than to sport with me and play cruel japes. Last Christmas, she even hid a dead mouse in my mince pie.
The lady does seem most spirited.
The lady? Oh, pish! Cousin Barbara is hardly a lady, for she is not 14 years of age. It is most unnatural to ask a grown man to wed a child.
Indeed it is. 'Tis my belief that in these enlightened times we should consider...
Verily, Barbara be damned. My heart belongs to a true woman, not a freckled, scrawny slip of a girl. A full-blossomed woman.
A woman, you say?
Aye, Marion, my other cousin.
I see.
Ah, Marion, so beguiling are her shapely charms. Oh, to lie, if not to die, in Marion's arms. So soft her lips, so sweet her face. Oh, how I yearn for her embrace. In me she hath such passions. A fever rises in my... But nay, I pray for death, and would be martyred if from her I be thus parted. And so you see, you must help me forestall this wretched marriage, so that I might wed my sweet cousin Marion. Mr. Forman? Mr. Forman?
Yes, indeed. Let us see what the stars advise. How might Mr. Moore avoid this marriage to his cousin Barbara?
Indeed. This one I will just say whatever he wants to hear. How can I avoid marrying my cousin? Let's see. House of Rumors represents an surprising reversal. Backlash provoked by sexual intercourse. If Moore spreads a rumor about Barbara being sexually active, the marriage plans will be abruptly cancelled. Oh. This house of pregnancy, this represents false piety. The house suggests Barbara is with child. She may not be as chaste as she seems. Well, this is lying, and it could backfire on him, which would lose us points in the long run. So that seems like a bad choice. Here we have House of Foreign Countries, suggests Moore is vain. An appeal to Moore's vanity may induce him to travel abroad. Yes, sounds good. House of Wills and Inheritance. This represents the passing of time and aging. Moore will be able to extract himself from this engagement once he has come of age and has control over his fortune, yeah? House of Service to Others. This represents treachery through war. Moore should betray his family by serving his country. He should go to war. Better choice than A, anyway. Then we have House of Secrets. This represents unhappy woman, most likely Barbara. Barbara is secretly unhappy about the marriage. House of God's Help represents intelligence. A rebellious female Barbara. God's aid will come via cousin Barbara, who is both intelligent and rebellious. Oh, okay. House of Marriage represents intuition. What does Moore's intuition tell him about this marriage? Therein lies the key to unraveling his engagement. I think this is a good choice. The kid doesn't seem interested in him anyway, so maybe it will unravel by itself, right? It's either that or suggest that he should go to war, but I don't think this is the right one. Appeals to his vanity does make sense. It's either B or C. Speak to his logic or speak to his vanity. No, he comes to me for a good, sensible solution. He shall get one.
It's apparent you do not wish to marry your cousin Barbara. But have you considered whether she wishes to marry you?
Oh no, whoops.
But I cannot think why she would not want to marry me. I am exceeding eligible.
Aye, doubtless you are, Mr. Moore. But do you not think her unkind japes may indicate she harbours some degree of malice towards you?
Mayhap you are right. I did find a toad in my bed Thursday last. 'Tis as if Barbara were possessed by a demon.
Very possibly. And thus possessed, she may be distracted and not wholly aware of your fine qualities. I advise you to simply bide your time, for the stars suggest she is a cunning maid who plans to thwart the marriage using a method of her own devising.
Verily? Then I will leave it all to Barbara, as you advise. But it shall be on your head if I'm forced to marry her, Mr. Forman.
Whoops. Well, he liked the idea. Let's hope it pans out. The querent did wish to know how to avoid marrying his cousin, Barbara. I did tell the querent to bide his time, and doubtless his young cousin would find a way to put an end to the match herself. Methinks the querent was a little pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. Yeah. Well, we might score some more points if it pans out, right? Mayhap I go this night to recite rhyming verse outside Marian's bedchamber. I saw that in a play. It worked wondrously well in the play. Whatever.
Hear ye! Spanish Armada nears English coast. Nation prepares for invasion whilst Queen searches for missing navy. Hear ye!
Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. As Spanish ships near our shores, the Queen's ground troops prepare for what promises to be blood-soaked slaughter of Englishmen by continental Catholic savages. With England's coasts undefended, experts predict that Spanish ships will be sailing up to the Thames to London within days. Sources in the royal court say the Queen is more than a little vexed by the absence of the Royal Navy, which experts describe as lost. Hopefully not because of my bad prediction. Probably though, right?
Wench, be sure to marry, lest ye be branded a witch. If Mary sees you keeping cats against you, she will snitch. Beware of Mistress Mary Payne, she is a nosy
Mm-hmm.
Blessed even, Dr. Forman.
Mistress Payne, what brings you in such weather? 'Tis most dangerous to be about in it.
Oh, it takes more than a little wind and rain to forestall me from doing the Lord's work. Besides, foul weather is naught but God's righteous vengeance upon London for the sinful debauchery of its inhabitants.
Verily? Then I dread to think what northerners get up to of an evening.
Pray heed me carefully, Dr. Forman, for 'tis on a most pressing matter that I am come. Doubtless you have heard the news. The Spanish Armada does sail once again towards England's shores. It seems this latest Armada was most unexpected.
Well, as 'tis oft said, no one expects the Spanish Armada.
'Tis very grave this time, for I have heard tell that our own warships are far away at sea, and with our coasts undefended, a Catholic horde may soon be sailing up the Thames to slay us all.
Aye, our situation is most grave indeed. But what would you have me tell you, Mistress Payne?
I wish to know whether the English fleet will arrive home in time to defend our shores, or might we ordinary folk be compelled to take up arms to defend ourselves? Dr. Forman, are you ready to beat off the Catholics, come what may?
Am I ready to beat off the... prithee, madam, let us pray the need never arises. Perchance the stars will offer us some reassurance. Will the Royal Naval Fleet return home in time to defend England from the Spanish Armada?
Man, I don't know what to say about all these ship predictions. How am I to know? The Spanish Armada is coming. Will the Royal Navy return in time to defend England's coast? Well, hopefully they will. Let's see. House of Wealth represents misguided, careless actions. The Royal Navy is absent due to a reckless and misguided pursuit of gold. That's correct. Confusion, House of Hidden Valuables. Ambitions will be thwarted by confusion. Unpleasantness will result from a cunning plan to steal goods. House of Lost and Stolen Goods indicates creativity and unpleasantness. So this is the negative view. Then we have House of Neighbors. This counsels violence. Mistress Payne must rouse her neighbors to take up arms. House of Duties. They suggest an untrustworthy authority. The authorities cannot be trusted to uphold their duty to defend the ordinary Englanders. And House of Evil Angels. This represents a reversal due to an unpredicted event and a reversal caused by death. Catholic evil angels will have their plans thwarted by a deadly, unpredictable event. Oh. House of Journeys. This indicates laziness. The Spanish fleet will be delayed due to idleness of their sailors. That seems unlikely. This seems like the good choice, right? Might as well prepare for the inevitable. She must rouse her neighbors to take up arms. We will go with B.
Madam, 'tis unclear as to whether the royal fleet will return before the Spanish Armada makes land. Even then, can we be sure that England's elites are true patriots who may be relied on to protect us from the Catholic invaders? Indeed, there be many an English Catholic nobleman who would welcome such an invasion, for if the King of Spain were to defeat us, he would have England return to Catholic rule.
Doubtless they would. Indeed, I have oft thought as much.
The stars advise you to go forth and rally your friends and neighbours. 'Tis ordinary folk who must take up arms and defeat the Spanish scourge.
You speak true, sir. I will go at once to home and arouse the men of Fore Street. Mark me, Dr. Forman. England shall take back control of our seas and defend our borders. We shall beat off the Spaniards till they come no more.
Well, she liked it anyway. And it cannot hurt. Mary Payne. The current did wish to know whether the Royal Navy would return home in time to defend England from the Spanish Armada. I did tell the Quirine that whether or not the fleet did return, the authorities cannot be relied upon to protect the people. I did advise her to rally friends and neighbors to take up arms and defend themselves. Methinks the Quirine was pleased with me for the reading I gave this day. Up to 30, alright. We shall beat off the Spanish until they come no more. Indeed. Alright. Oh. More mail. This is from Lancelot. Sir, I must congratulate you on your sterling counsel you gave me in relation to my horrid cousin Barbara, whom my parents did wish me to marry. As you did predict, the wretched little fiend did at length contrive a method for ending our engagement. She has run off with Earl of Shrewsbury, your relieved current, Lancelot Moore Esquire. Letters of recommendation, 30 out of 100 for his. Nice. So that was probably the best solution for him then.
Take care, for say, did you hear what the Countess says about peace?
Oh, God.
They call out your humors and cause cancer tumors, so doubtless they're causing your gold disease.
Oh, Nicholas. Oh, Nicholas.
Tomorrow, Mr. Mugg. Back again so soon. And yet your red spots do seem to have faded.
Aye, those spots were naught but the work of fleas, just as you said. My wife did beat the rugs and banish the dogs from the house. She'll be beating and banishing me next if she has her way.
Well, I am glad to hear you are faring better. What brings you this day?
I have a humoral imbalance and need treating for it.
A humoral imbalance, you say? Well, 'tis true that an imbalance of humours can affect a man's mood. For instance, an excess of black bile, which is a cold, dry humour, can provoke feelings of melancholy, whereas yellow bile
is hot and dry. I thank ye for the explanation, Dr. Forman, but I did learn all about humours when I took supper with my friend, Mistress Ollingworth. She has a humoral imbalance and takes medicine for it. Hence, I am come this day for medicine to treat my own imbalance.
I see. And what mental symptoms are you experiencing? Any unusual or troubling feelings?
Aye, very troubling. Why, I find myself a-fretting and a-pacing all the day long. Even my wife has remarked upon it.
Anxiety and agitation. Pray tell, did these feelings begin before or after you spoke with your friend, Mistress Ollingworth?
Let me see now. After, methinks. Aye, after. Why, does that matter?
Yes, quite possibly. But let us see what these stars do have to say. What humoral imbalance does ail my querent, Nicholas Mugg?
Not sure I understand here. It didn't have anything to do with peace, which was what I was listening for. What humoral imbalance do I have? I honestly don't know what that means. Humor to me has to do with comedy, and I don't think that has to do anything here. Humoral imbalance. It has to do with his emotions, I suppose. Like he is fretting over nothing and yeah, frustrated. Fretting. Ruler of the chest. This suggests a minor imbalance of yellow bile. Mug is mildly choleric. A humoral imbalance of choler can occasion symptoms of anger, impatience, and irritability. Sounds about right. And ruler of the bowels. This indicates a psychological factor. This suggests a mild imbalance of phlegm. Mug is suffering from constipation and a related psychological condition. Choleric. Ruler of the chest. Ruler of the bowels. He didn't describe anything with his stomach or having trouble with constipation, bowel movements, or anything. This is psychological and a related psychological condition, so there might be something here. What humoral imbalance do I have? We'll go with the choleric. He does not seem angry, though. But impatient and irritable? Sure. Yeah, he cut me off mid-sentence, which kind of says the same thing here. Let's go with this one here.
Have you a diagnosis yet? This day I am to dine with Mistress Ollingworth, and I wish to tell her all about it.
Aye, 'tis done. You have a choleric temperament, brought on by a minor imbalance of yellow bile. It does often induce feelings of irritability and impatience in the sufferer, and in severe cases, it can provoke outbursts of anger.
I see. How very interesting.
We must counter the excess of this hot, dry humour with wet and cooling elements. Take this powder of violets and salt and boil it in some water. Then you must drink the infusion once it is cooled.
I thank ye for this medicine, Dr. Forman. But may I trouble you for twice the dose of it? For if the symptoms be what you say, I think my wife had best be taking it as well.
Oh god. Alright. As long as you're happy, Nicholas. The current did present with symptoms of a troubled mind. I did diagnose choleric temperament and described a cooling infusion of violets and salt. Not sure what violets are. Methinks the current is most pleased with me for the reading I gave today. I think this is giving us a letter. Da-da-da-da, indeed. Mayhap I secret the cure into my wife's ale. I do not think she would take kindly to learning that she has an imbalance. Wise idea, good old Nicholas. And with that, that'll be our last patient for the day. Thank you guys as always for watching. I hope you're enjoying Simon's Tale. We continue it tomorrow. See you then, and bye-bye.